You woke to the echo of empty rooms, messages unanswered, doors closed, eyes turned away. In that silence, you felt the weight of your own absence, the respect you never demanded, the allegiance you never claimed. They slipped through your fingers like shadows, and in that instant you understood. Power is not handed over. It is wrested from doubt, claimed in the pause before reaction. They betrayed you first by believing you would forgive. They betrayed you second by forgetting what you demanded in return: indifference. And as you stood in that hollow, realizing the emptiness was yours to fill, you tasted the raw edge of transformation. Look around. People still play kindly, still beg acceptance. They petition for validation with trembling voices. But here, now, you will learn to withdraw your invitation. You will learn to leave them questioning why the chase has stopped. Because if you have to speak your value, it no longer exists. Feel the tension knotting in your chest. Let it tighten. This is the crucible. Clarity forged through abandon. You are neither hero nor victim. You are the reckoning. They will remember you not for the warmth you once offered, but for the cold you now wield. And in that cold clarity, power is born. Presence outweighs performance. Silence outguns explanation. They called you ruthless because they could no longer control you. They accused you of cruelty because you denied them the comfort they craved. This is no pep talk, no path laid out, no comforting hand extended. This is the mirror you've turned away from, the reflection that strips pity from your scars. When you finish listening, they will feel your absence like a breach in their armor, and they will hesitate before crossing you again. If you're tired of being overlooked, tired of the hollow apologies, tired of the applause that dies at your feet, stay. Watch the space between what you say and what you allow. Subscribe to the silence you command. Comment when you feel the shift, when indifference becomes your fiercest ally. You remember the moment they first tested your limits, their voice soft, their smile predatory. You stood there, heart pounding, imagining the words you wanted to unleash, but you held back. You learned then that restraint is a blade sharper than any outburst. In that pause, your silence became their uncertainty. They stumbled for answers, searching in your eyes for the fury they expected. It never came. Instead, you folded your arms, watched them blink, and let your quiet become a question they could not answer. In that second, you owned the space between their doubt and your distance. They called you distant because they could not follow you into your solitude. You cultivated it like a fortress, each wall built from every insult you tolerated, every apology you swallowed. They demanded explanations, sought reconciliation with trembling humility. But you had already written their lines, predicted their pleas. You sat back and let them dance, let them tremble at the knowledge that you would not move an inch until they earned one word of your attention. Watch how they adapt when you refuse to play the game they mastered long ago. You felt the hunger in their eyes when you refused to perform. They expected the script, your deflection, your apology, your desperate plea for harmony. But you rewrote the narrative. You showed them a blank page and they froze. That blankness is a message more potent than any declaration. It says, I decide when you speak, and I decide when I listen. In that void, you become their obsession. While they chase ghosts of your approval, you remain unchained, unbound, untouchable. Imagine the weeks that follow each meeting, each message sent into the void, unanswered. They build stories in their minds, conjuring fear that you moved on, that you found someone more pliable. That fear becomes their confession. They reveal their desperation with every follow-up text, and you read each letter like a dossier, cataloging their weaknesses. This is intelligence gathering, not emotional warfare. It is the calm analysis of their neediness, the precise calculation of your next withdrawal. Let them think that you have detached yourself permanently. Let them feel the cold absence of your engagement. In the fog of their regret, they will draft plans to regain your favor, strategies that will leak their true measures of you, your value as leverage, your presence as currency. They will barter with contrition and lame promises. But you have already anticipated their moves. You will appear only when your return serves your agenda, not theirs, because power is not given. It is summoned on your terms. Every time they step closer, lean into your space with guilt-laden eyes, you will step back further. Not with rage, but with the precision of a chess master moving a pawn. Each retreat is an advance, each silence a command. You teach them that pursuit without reward is a trap one they willingly spring. And in their frustration, you see the proof of your supremacy. They are bound to you by threads of their own making. Do not mistake this for cruelty. It is clarity. You are not breaking them. You are revealing who they choose to become when you mirror their own desperation. You let your detachment show them the emptiness they've chased in you. And now they see what lives in your absence, the truth of their dependency, the shape of their need. In that revelation, you are untouchable. They cannot injure what they can no longer reach. They reached for you one night, with whispers cloaked in regret. A final olive branch, trembling hands offering excuses, wearing the guise of remorse. You held their words like empty shells, listened as the wind through hollow bones. You let the moment stretch until their breath hitched, until they realized there would be no feast of your forgiveness. They stood exposed, offering the pieces of themselves they feared you'd reject, and you denied them even the crumbs. In that refusal, you transformed. No longer the one who pleads at the altar of connection, you became the altar itself, unyielding, inert, indifferent. Your gaze cut through the dark as an unspoken verdict. They felt it in their bones. They had nothing to bargain with. Their contrition dripped from their lips like water on stone, beautiful in its futility. They tried to negotiate with silence. They bargained apologies in whispers, laced with false humility. But you had no need for their tongue. You read the language of their hesitation, the half-beat pauses before each apology, the slight tightening of the shoulders before each confession. You catalogued those tells like evidence against them. Now you speak only when it reshapes the battlefield to your advantage. Watch how they fracture under your gaze. Notice the tremor in the group chat when your name appears unread. They redraw alliances, whispering theories of your disappearance. Perhaps you found another. Perhaps you burned bridges at your whim. They feed each other rumors to fill the void you created. In that void, you reign supreme. Your absence is the law, their curiosity the court. They will make mistakes. They will launch half-hearted gestures, expecting you to catch them like before. They will send you token songs, memes, echoes of the life you shared. But you will not retrieve them. You watch them scramble, collecting the scraps of your presence as if they could stitch back the respect they lost. And in their panic, you see the truth. They were never trying to keep you, only to control you. Every text you leave unanswered is a lesson. Every door closed in your wake is a message etched in silence. They will study your pattern and predict your next withdrawal, but you will surprise them with your consistency. You are silent when they expect thunder. You are still when they expect motion. You are absence when they expect indulgence. And in that unpredictability, they remain off balance, forever chasing the ghost of the person you used to be. Feel the power as it hums in your fingertips. It is not the roar of rage. It is the hum of certainty. You know your value because you assign it. You decide its measure. When you choose to return, they will kneel in questions and dread. They will wonder if they are worthy of your presence. And in that moment, your single word will stand for an empire. Do not soften. Do not falter. Your rigidity is your gift. Your silence is your currency. They will offer you anything to reclaim it. Watch as they bow to the scarcity you create. Let them scramble in the darkness you command. For in that darkness, you find the clarity of your own ascent. They came at dawn, tentative, crawling through your thresholds with the softness of regret in their voices. They spoke of change, of epiphanies they claimed to hold like fragile treasures. You watched them from the hush of your quiet command, your expression unreadable. As they poured out confessions, you felt the surge of their desperation, the brittle conviction that this plea would shatter your resolve. You let them carry on, each word a clumsy dagger aimed at your indifference. You let the moment stretch until their voice cracked, and the morning light found only your stillness. In that stillness, you wield your greatest weapon, duration. They expected a moment an apology returned, a flicker of your old warmth, and instead they found an unending expanse of your own making. Time becomes your ally when you refuse to fill it. It humbles them, makes their apologies age like moth-eaten cloth. Regret without closure is a slow poison. It seeps into every corner of their mind, and you watch as they recoil from the memory of who they once were in your present. They tried to bargain time itself, asking for meetings at cafes you never showed up to, scheduling calls you kept deliberately vague. Each appointment they set crackled with hope that you would return to the script they rehearsed. But you let the calendar grow empty, watched the dates pass unmarked. Their calendars became mausoleums of their own expectations. In that void, they confronted their insignificance. Without your approval, they learned that your engagement is not a right. It is a privilege granted only when it serves your design. Notice how they scramble now, petitioning mutual friends to inquire about your well-being. They ask for intel, whispers of your whereabouts. You let those intermediaries roam aimlessly, passing hollow messages you never receive. In that circuit of rumor, you sit at the center like a silent queen. Your inaccessibility becomes legend. They speak of you as a phantom, half believed and half feared. And that legend is your legacy, more potent than any spoken testimony. They began to fracture alliances when you kept your silence. People who once vied for your ear now jockeyed for favor with each other, hoping to invoke your name. They built factions around interpretations of your absence. Yet none could claim authority. They all feared misreading the code you wrote in detached glances. You become the cryptic cipher that controls the board without making a single move. In their frenzy, they reveal their own architecture, where their loyalties lie, who they would betray to reclaim your attention. They offer accolades you never asked for, titles, praises, false virtues. You let them inflate themselves with your shadow. You observe how they gild their words to you when you finally appear, knowing you will re-emerge only once, to dismantle their constructions with a single nod or shake of your head. Feel the shift in your chest, the quiet triumph of silence. It is not the echo of a scream, but the gravity of an unmoved mountain. They bombard you now with feigned indifference. Take your time. Do what you need. Yet behind those veils they tremble, for they know the knife they sharpened against your heart now rests against their own throats. Their indifference is brittle. Yours is steel. You will reappear briefly, like a comet that streaks across a black sky, spectacular, fleeting, unforgettable. In that moment, you will not apologize, you will not justify, you will stand, and they will see how small they've become in your absence. They will bow their heads, offering their fears and their failures for your inspection, and you will choose which fragment of them you salvage. Do not mistake mercy for weakness. Mercy is another form of currency, dispensed with precision. You will sanction one word of conversation, one invitation back into your orbit, and you will price it at the weight of their soul. They will bargain with their vulnerabilities, shuddering under the knowledge that every concession they make is proof of the power you wield. In that moment, you own them not by force, but by revelation. You expose their dependency, their willingness to kneel for crumbs of your approval, and as they cringe under that light, you stand unmoved, cold. They realize that respect is not a gift, it is the echo of your absence, and when you depart again, they will chase the echo until they understand its source lies within them, an empty well that only you can choose to refill. They found you at the edge of the event, conversations vibrating around you like insects drawn to light. They approached, armor polished by guilt, expecting you to shimmer with recognition, but you remained motionless, a statue carved from absence. Their words hovered in the air, half confessions, rehearsed apologies, prayers for your glance. You offered none. In the silent calculus of your restraint, they discovered their worth measured in syllables unsaid. See how they collapse under the weight of their own longing. They spill intentions dripping with false sincerity, hoping to baptize themselves in your attention. But your detachment is a mirror they look, and find only the reflection of their desperation. Their faces tighten, pupils dilate. They search for patience in your quiet, only to find a void. That void is not emptiness, but dominion. Feel the power emanate from stillness, the authority of someone who needs nothing. You are no longer prey to echoes of their voices. You have converted every slight, every moment of disrespect into a fortress around your spirit. They can assault you with words, but they cannot breach silence. They can brand you cold, but you wear the label like armor, unbending, impenetrable. They attempt to puncture your calm with dramatic reveals, stories of self-transformation, promises of loyalty rewritten. You let the stories break upon your shores like waves against a cliff. No ripple disturbs the face of your resolve. They come equipped with banners of contrition, expecting you to rally behind their cause. Instead, you stand unmoved, and they falter, unsure if they should retreat or charge blindly. In the chaos of their failing strategies, you observe the architecture of their psyche, the illusions they cling to, the narratives they confess in whispers. You catalogue them as a general surveys the enemy's ranks, noting the frayed loyalties, the fractures in camaraderie. You are strategist and sovereign, surveying the battlefield from the citadel of your silence. Notice their tactics morph in real time, from overt pleas to covert manipulation. They orchestrate chance encounters, drop mentions of shared history in passing. They flood your periphery with mutual acquaintances' testimonials, hoping third-party commentary will pierce your silence. Yet each tactic only cements your dominion, because you grant them nothing. Their illusions collapse into a maze with no exit, an elaborate trap they built themselves. Your mind remains a sanctum, unbreached by guilt or respect. You are observer and arbiter. You choose the moment you descend from your pedestal, and it will be when you command the narrative's final act. Until then, let them writhe in the tension of unanswered summons. Let them taste the vertigo of your inaccessibility. You do not admonish, you do not explain, you do not justify. You let your absence speak volumes. In that absence, they find the weight of their mistakes multiplied. Every second you withhold becomes a testament to your sovereignty, and every heartbeat they spend seeking you is proof you have eclipsed their need to control. When you finally re-emerge, if you choose to, you will not descend to their level. You will remain on the heights, offering them a gaze that both ignites and freezes. In that moment, they will kneel not out of love, but because they recognize the chasm you command. They will offer themselves as tribute, laying bare the rawest parts they once hid, and you will sift through their offerings, with the precision of a surgeon, selecting only what enhances your empire. Do not mistake this for vindictiveness. It is strategy. It is evolution. It is the cold revelation that respect is not inherited. It is harvested from the fear of loss, the ache of absence. You are the harvest master, the architect of emotional currency. Hold fast to this. Power is not a raw. It is the pressure beneath the surface, building until it fractures the world around you. In your silence, they will build their own prisons. In your absence, they will discover the ghost of your influence. And in that discovery, you will remain unbroken, untouched, unassailable. They stood like broken statues in the debris of your silence, fragments of their own regrets strewn at your feet. In that aftermath, you realize that every slight you endured, every apology you withheld, was the mortar of your new foundation. They learned too late that mercy is not compassion, but control. You decide when to grant it, and they beg for the privilege. Now they navigate the emptiness you created, searching for signs of your return like lost pilgrims in a desert of indifference. In that desert, you find elevation. You are neither judge nor savior. You are the mirror reflecting their true hunger. They unmasked themselves in your absence, revealing loyalties sold, promises broken, and desperation laid bare. Their pursuit was never of you. It was of their own salvation through your validation. And in that clarity, you discover your unshakable axis. Power lies not in the surrender of others, but in the certainty of your own detachment. Feel the cold stillness settle in your bones. This is the apex of your transformation. No apology required, no explanation offered. You have become the quiet force that shapes reality through absence, the architect of emotional gravity bending their wills. They will rebuild around the void you command, forever chasing the echo of a presence you freely give, and just as easily withdraw. If you felt the shift in the space between words, if your pulse quickens at the promise of unyielding sovereignty, subscribe in silence. Comment only if you dare to wield this power in your own life.